Now at 9, we'll hear from Academy Sports and Outdoors in Joplin about a surge of Chiefs fans getting their Super Bowl championship gear. Plus, how a local flower shop is getting set for one of the busiest days of the year. And
3 days, 3 unidentified aerial objects shot down by the U.S. military. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have details on the investigation straight ahead.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Chiefs fans are gravitating towards championship gear. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to a couple of shoppers while grabbing the new gear.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
Chief fans are making their way to Academy Sports and Outdoors in Joplin to grab new gear, even making time for shopping in between errands.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my wife to come from Aldi's, and then I'm gonna hit her up for some new Chiefs gear.
Nice. Just having Chiefs gear isn't enough. Fans want merchandise of champions.
It didn't say Super Bowl champ, it just said Super Bowl, and you know, I'm a fan and it was a great game.
The team lead at Academy Sports is no stranger to Super Bowl frenzy. Every year, Chief gear is always in fashion, but especially after 2 recent Super Bowl wins, fans want more.
So it's kind of just been the same thing as it is every year. You get a lot of people come in, and thankfully they're really polite and they're really considerate of, you know, we're rushing to get everything out. So it was actually pretty good feeling all around.
For some fans, rooting for the Chiefs is a family affair.
My cousin does play for the Chiefs, so it kind of makes it easy to root for them. Yeah, I would say so. He did miss the kick early on, but yeah, so he got it back. Yep.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
The manager said they are expecting even more Chiefs championship gear in the coming days. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly today announced she would donate her Super Bowl sports bet winning of $165, including the original $15 she wagered. It will go to the 15 and Mahomes Foundation, Patrick Mahomes' nonprofit dedicated to improving the lives of children. A week before the football season began, the governor bet the Chiefs would win the Super Bowl. It was the first bet placed after Kansas legalized sports betting in the state this past summer. 3 years after a massive Super Bowl parade in Kansas City, the city has planned the next one. Hundreds of thousands of people gathered in KC for the parade following the Super Bowl 54 victory in February of 2020. Now the city has released the schedule and route for this year's celebration. Weather permitting, the parade will start at noon Wednesday at 6th Street and Grand Boulevard. It'll work its way down, then head west at Union Station. The rally at Union Station is estimated to begin around 1:45 p.m. Wednesday. You can find this information, including the route map, at KOAMnewsnow.com. And a little later, we'll have a recap of yesterday's game and some post-game reaction. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with the first look at the weather.
Yeah, if you're going to head north to Kansas City for the parade on Wednesday, the weather looks okay. It's going to be chilly. Temperatures are going to be into the 40s. A lot of clouds. 10 a.m. 40, 44 at 1, and then up to about 47 by 4 p.m. So at least it looks pretty good. Here today we hit 62, average highs 49 degrees, so a pretty good chunk above where we should be for this time of the year. Wind advisory in effect. The winds are really going to pick up tonight ahead of our next storm system. Already the clouds are thickening up and some showers once you get down toward Tulsa and Oklahoma City. So these are really going to expand as we go through the rest of the overnight hours. In fact, you can see our rain chances really shoot up, especially by morning, and then start to taper off as we go into the afternoon hours. So temps hang out near 50, rain increasing late tonight. We're going to have more details on that here in just a bit.
The Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce says the nomination period is now open for its Business of the Year awards. Officials with the city say now is the time to nominate businesses or nonprofits for its impact on the local economy and the overall progress of the Joplin area. There are 3 categories for award winners, which are businesses with 50 or less employees, businesses with 50 or more, and nonprofits.
Build pride in your community, but also among the chamber membership, and recognizing those businesses and not-for-profits who have really stepped up and taken the time to go the extra step to really be the best versions of themselves.
To see requirements on how finalists will be chosen for the awards, go online to KOAMnewsnow.com. Today, U.S. officials say they still don't know the origin or motive behind 3 objects shot down over North America this weekend. Fighter jets took out another object on Sunday as the country remains under heightened alert following a Chinese spy balloon shot down just over a week ago. Fox's Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
The U.S. military downed a 4th unidentified object in just 8 days on Sunday, this time over Michigan. NORAD began monitoring an octagonal object floating over Montana on Saturday, lost track of it, then picked it up again on Sunday. Worried it could interfere with commercial planes at its altitude of 20,000 feet, missiles took it down on Sunday over Lake Huron. U.S. officials say they will continue to monitor the skies.
If there's an unknown object that enters either Canadian or U.S. airspace, we will go out, we will attempt to identify it. If it's a threat, kinetic threat, military threat, I am delegated the authority if it commits a hostile act or hostile intent.
Sunday's event follows the downing of a much larger object thought to be a Chinese spy balloon off the South Carolina coast on February 4th, after officials tracked it across the U.S. A second object was shot down Friday over Alaska, a third on Saturday in Canada, then Sunday's incident. So far, U.S. officials say they have no reason to believe the 3 objects downed over the weekend are from China or even related.
These ones that are being shot down, they're different nature. The one that looks like that was shot down over Alaska is different from the one that was shot down over Canada.
There could be completely benign and totally explainable reasons for why these objects are flying around up there.
Beijing has also accused the U.S. of flying balloons over Chinese airspace. Administration officials say that is absolutely not true. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Coming up, a recap of the Super Bowl.
It was one of the closest to Super Bowls in recent history. Ultimately, the Chiefs taking home the Lombardi Trophy. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Glendale, Arizona. I'll have the latest reaction to Super Bowl 57 coming up.
Super Bowl 57 was one of the closest championship games in recent years. Ultimately, the underdog Chiefs came out on top with a game-ending thriller over the Philadelphia Eagles. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has the reaction from Glendale, Arizona.
It was an all-night celebration from Arizona to the streets of Kansas City, following the Chiefs' narrow 38-35 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles.
You saw everybody pour everything out on that field for the second half, and sure enough, that Chiefs came away with victory, baby.
The Chiefs taking home the Lombardi Trophy for the second time in 4 years, led by game MVP quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes solidifying himself among the all-time greats, fighting through pain after re-injuring his ankle heading into halftime.
I mean, you're in the Super Bowl. You can worry about getting it healthy in the off season. So I just kind of fought through, and we were able to win the game.
In the battle of brothers, Travis Kelce came out on top. Donna Kelce calling the game's outcome bittersweet.
I'm so happy they got to share this. They put everything out there. I wish they could have both won.
And those weren't the only highlights. The big event began with Chris Stapleton's emotional rendition of the national anthem, bringing Eagles coach Nick Sirianni to tears. Before taking the Super Bowl halftime stage, Rihanna hinted at bringing a special guest. Fans going wild when she revealed she's pregnant at the start of her 13-minute set. Meanwhile, overnight, Eagles fans filled the streets of Philadelphia, heartbroken by the loss and the controversial call minutes before the end of the game.
Disappointed is the main word.
The celebrations in Kansas City expected to last through Wednesday when the Super Bowl champs are honored with a victory parade. In Glendale, Arizona, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
It was a big night for the Kansas City Chiefs and also sports betting. The American Gaming Association predicted that a record 50 million Americans would place $16 billion in wagers on last night's big game. That's more than double last year's estimates. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later we take a look at what Super Bowl ads made an impression.
Well, definitely turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. We had quite a bit of sunshine most of the day, and then the clouds really thickened up during the evening hours. A nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo. is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Let's go to 7th and Rangeline, currently sitting at 52. Southerly winds at about 5 to 10. Humidity is at 47%. Through the overnight hours, rain really starts to increase late tonight. Through the morning hours, temperatures kind of hanging out near 50 degrees. Plus, the winds are really going to increase. A wind advisory is in effect tomorrow night, as really ahead of this storm system, the winds are really going to pick up. We do have a light southerly wind right now, but these will get moving late tonight into the morning hours. Look at this, winds gusting 45 to 50 by morning. And through the day, we're going to have winds gusting 40, 50, maybe a little bit above across the region. So it's going to be super windy. So your wind forecast, trash can, definitely neighbor's yard. You may want to bring it in tonight if you don't have to put the trash out tomorrow like I do, which is a good reminder. Clouds across the region have been thickening up over the past several hours. You can see this storm system out across parts of New Mexico and into Texas, and already some showers starting to develop right around Tulsa and then stretching back to Oklahoma City. And these are really going to blow up as we go through the next several hours. So let's go through time. Here's about 12:30, a band of light showers pushing through the region, temperatures near 50. As we continue into the morning hours, showers become a little bit more numerous. These are light, but definitely starting the day on the wet side. As we go through the morning hours, bands of showers, even some thunderstorms. Nothing strong, nothing severe across the region. These are going to be out of here by about 1 o'clock. We break out, we see sunshine, we warm into the upper 50s across the region. But late tomorrow afternoon, we could get a few thunderstorms that try to get going. These are mainly going to be north of I-44, but some of these could be a little bit stronger. So we need to keep our eyes on those. They work out of here, clear skies tomorrow night. We back down to about 40 degrees, and then our next wave begins to roll in. So ahead of it, we warm up on Wednesday. We press 70 as we head into Wednesday afternoon, and then here we go again. Chances for showers and thunderstorms could even mix with a little bit of snow by the time we head into Thursday morning. So a lot going on over the next couple days. All right, rainfall amounts with this next system, I think most of us about 1/2 inch, which is good. We need it. Rain in the morning, sunshine in the afternoon, high temp of 59. Also very windy throughout the day on Valentine's. 67 on Wednesday. That next system, late Wednesday into Thursday morning. Friday looks good. The weekend looks good. More chances for rain and snow as we go into early next week. Obviously, I'm a huge Chiefs fan, and I worked my voice out a little bit too much last night, so I'm a little hoarse. But, I mean, hey, it's well worth it.
A 3-point game in the Super Bowl, I know if my team were in it, I don't know if I'd be able to anchor right now. So I do not blame you.
It's getting worse through the day.
Well, congrats, Doug. All right. Thank you. Coming up, how a local flower shop is getting set for one of the busiest days of the year. The IRS says taxpayers in more than 20 states who received tax rebates last year won't need to report them on their 2022 tax returns. The states had authorized the rebates to help residents offset inflation to the cost of the pandemic. The IRS has asked those who received the rebates to hold off on filing while they considered whether those payments would be taxable income. The 2022 tax returns are due by April 18th this year. A lot of people will receive Valentine's Day flowers, cards, or sweet treats tomorrow. And that means plenty of area businesses are busy and preparing for those gifts. KOAM's Carrie Worthen visited a flower shop and bakery to see how they're gearing up for the special day.
With anything that we can do ahead that will make it easier, we just go ahead with that.
Country Gardens in Columbus, Kansas started planning early for Valentine's Day.
We usually, right after the new year, we start estimating how many candy bouquets, and we start making bows. We put together the candy arrangements, looking for supplies, what you need, and get those ordered.
Along with florists, bakers are busy making heart-shaped, everything. Celebrations by Lori in Pittsburgh had a huge Super Bowl weekend with Chiefs cookies on top of Valentine's Day orders.
And it gets kind of hectic.
Yeah, it's challenging. It takes a lot of pre-planning, it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of extra hours, but we always hate to miss out on an opportunity to be part of those extra special celebrations as well.
Horton said she will send out about 80 to 100 dozen cookies and 30 to 40 dozen cupcakes. And Yerk said she will make around 250 bouquets.
My husband, when we first got married, was always buying me a dozen roses. Well, we couldn't pay the electric bill, and I said, no more dozen roses. So 36 years ago, he bought me a flower shop.
While she has guaranteed flowers on Valentine's Day, shops like these two are working around the clock with extra employees to make the holiday memorable. In Columbus, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
Celebrations by Lori employees worked extra hours during the Valentine's Day season. Country Gardens hired 11 extra employees this holiday. Next, we take a look at the world's most expensive motorcycle. You might mistake the world's most expensive motorcycle for an old bicycle, but make no mistake about this one. It's worth a lot of money. The rare 1908 Harley-Davidson has become the most expensive motorcycle ever sold at auction. It went on auction block last month at the Mecum auction in Las Vegas. It sold for $935,000. The model is known as Strap Tank because of the nickel-plated steel bands that suspend the fuel and oil tanks from the bike's frame. Auction officials say they are believed to be fewer than 12 of the 1908 Strap Tanks still out in the world, and even fewer are as close in the condition as this one. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. It's American Heart Month. We'll hear from a Webb City, Missouri woman on life-saving procedure she received 30 years ago. Plus, the city of Webb City looks to create a disc golf course in King Jack Park. February is American Heart Month. A Webb City, Missouri woman is telling her story on how pacemaker saved her life 30 years ago. KOAM Shagun Bombly spoke to her and has more.
When she was 15 years old, Amy Quinn was dressing for school one morning in 1993 when she dropped unconsciously in the kitchen due to a heart spell called neurocardiogenic syncope, a condition that impacts the heart's rhythm and can cause fainting spells. Amy says the event and diagnosis were terrifying.
But the fear on my parents' face probably accelerated my fear because they were obviously terrified that their 15-year-old was having these issues. And then I remember being in the hospital prior to implantation and praying a lot and knowing that this is a big deal, even for a 15-year-old girl.
When Amy was rushed to the hospital, she was treated by Dr. John Cox, a childhood doctor who inserted a pacemaker to help control the heartbeat.
Pacemakers can stimulate the heart in either the upper chambers or the lower chambers, and most commonly we implant devices that have the capacity to do both.
With several technological advances over the years, Dr. Cox tells me how he has seen the pacemaking technology change from when he puts one in his youngest patients in 1993 till today.
The initial pacemakers were large, hockey puck size things, and they're now down to a pretty small device that doesn't really stick out very much.
Now, after 30 years of living with a pacemaker, Amy is a caregiver, treating people herself.
That I was in and out of the hospital so much as a child that working in healthcare just was second nature to me. And so giving back and working in healthcare is just a part of who I am, you know, and educating. I connect a lot with, so I work with a lot of elderly folks and I connect with them when I see that they have a pacemaker. I say, oh, I have a pacemaker too. And that, you know, that usually breaks the ice and we have a conversation.
Reporting in Joplin, Shagun Bombly, KOAM News.
According to the CDC, heart disease is the leading cause of death for women in the U.S. A support group met up in Joplin today. They're called the Non-Permitted Project. It's a collection of people from different backgrounds who share the common goal of tearing down barriers of taboo and non-permitted subjects. The group also connects members with local community resources.
So with these meetings, our project has partnered with a lot of local community resources. So if somebody needs a certain set of counseling or a certain set of, say, primary care doctor, or just a hairdresser that they can go to feel comfortable. We can help bridge that gap in the community by helping connect resources to those in need.
You can find more information about the group on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Webb City is looking to create a disc golf course. The city council approved a motion to buy 18 disc golf baskets. Only 9 of the baskets will be set up first. They will go on to the southwest end of King Jack Park. The other 9 will be added at a later date.
Disc golf is catching on, it's just something that for people to do, get out, of course back during the pandemic, and I think that really is when it took off because people needed something to do outside, and it's still a pretty popular sport.
The council approved a motion to buy 3 new zero-turnover lawnmowers. The jobs report that showed the United States saw a gain of more than 1 million jobs over the past 3 months has a lot of people scratching their heads. Tech firms have recently laid off thousands of people, but it turns out service jobs have been on the upswing. Among the businesses hiring are restaurants, hospitals, and child care centers. Analysts say the bump up in hiring in those industries is more than offsetting the cuts announced by huge employers such as Amazon.com and Microsoft. In fact, the service industries account for a little more than a third of all private sector payrolls. Hiring by those types of employers is up by 47% from the previous year and a half. More than 56,000 COVID-19 antigen tests are being recalled because of the potential for inaccurate results. Manufacturer Universal Meditech says its Skip Pack Medical Lab COVID-19 rapid antigen test were distributed without appropriate pre-market clearance or approval. According to a notice from the FDA, the test could provide inaccurate results. The tests were manufactured from October 2021 through December of the same year, were sent to distributors in California and Texas, and were distributed in January of last year. There's no word of any injuries related to the product. For people infected with COVID-19, Paxlovid is proving to be a lifesaver. A study at the University of Colorado finds the antiviral remains highly effective on Omicron variants. Researchers tracked 28,000 patients with risk factors and found Paxlovid significantly reduced rates of hospitalization and death. As more debris and rubble is cleared, we're getting a better sense of the scope of the humanitarian crisis facing parts of Turkey and Syria. Fox News Senior Affairs correspondent Greg Palco has more from Turkey.
Rescue workers are busy clearing away debris as they look for more survivors from the deadly earthquakes. But after a week of searching, the rescue mission is slowly shifting to recovery mode. We visited the city of Iskenderun on Monday, where almost every structure suffered some kind of damage, including the hospital, which had to be moved to a high school across the street. Doctors there now treating secondary injuries like smoke and dust inhalation and bruises from aftershocks. But even with help from the Indian military, resources are stretched thin, prompting a new plea from the UN.
We are mobilizing funding, and we're trying to tell everyone, put politics aside. This is the time to unite behind a common effort.
The death toll here has now passed 35,000, and the humanitarian crisis is growing. Homelessness and hunger are widespread. Looting is being reported in nearly every city.
Any kind of help can help. It's just chaos here. Just whatever you can help with. There isn't any much help. Not a lot of search and rescue teams.
Turkish government blaming at least some of the damage on developers and contractors who allegedly built unsafe buildings. Dozens of arrests have been made and more are expected, with angry residents looking for answers about who was to blame for the faulty construction.
If you ask people which building in Hatay wouldn't collapse, they'd all point to this one, but this is the one that's in the worst shape.
One early estimate puts the cost of damage in Turkey alone at $84 billion. In Iskenderun, Turkey, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Doug joins us with the final look at the forecast and later, how the Super Bowl is impacting a potential TikTok ban.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. We had partly sunny skies through a good chunk of the day. Clouds really thickened up during the evening hours. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Here's 7th and Rangeline 52. Southerly winds 5 to 10, starting to slowly crank up, and they will as we go through the overnight hours. Rain will also be pushing in as we work through the overnight. Overnight low down to about 47 for us tonight. Check this out. Wind advisory for us tomorrow into tomorrow night. Those winds are really going to be moving. We have southerly winds now, but these will really increase, especially after about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning as our next storm system heads toward us. In fact, winds will be gusting 45 upwards to 50 by morning. Winds are going to stay strong all day long, and then they'll finally start to taper off a little bit as we go into tomorrow night and also on Wednesday. So wind forecast, trash cam, it's probably not going to be gone forever, but definitely in the neighbor's yard. So bring it in tonight as those winds are going to be really picking up. All right, look at the clouds increasing across the region, and you can see our next storm system down through parts of New Mexico and even into parts of Texas. And then we already have some showers which are popping up, really just from Tulsa back toward Oklahoma City. These will really expand as we go through the next several hours. All right, let's go through time. Showers increasing, so here's about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Light scattered showers through the night, but these increase by morning. So here's 7 a.m. So when you're heading out the door early, it will be wet. We'll be sitting into lower 50s. Even thunderstorms mixed in by mid-morning into late morning, and then most of these will be out of here by 1 o'clock. We get some sunshine, we warm near 60, we have a little backside wave. These are going to be thunderstorms. Some of them could be strong. They'll be north of the metro, but still something we want to keep our eyes on as we go through tomorrow afternoon and evening. Tomorrow night we clear out, we drop back near 40, and then ahead of our next wave, which moves in late Wednesday, look at this, we warm near 70 by the time we head into Wednesday afternoon. Then Wednesday night, another band, scattered showers and thunderstorms. You can see some pink and blue, the top corner of your screen. So as that colder air rushes in, we may get a mix or even briefly switch over to a little bit of light snow on Thursday morning. It doesn't look like a big deal here. Looks like most of the accumulations will stay to our north near Topeka, Lawrence, and also Kansas City. All right, rainfall amounts with this next wave, about 1/2 inch, which will definitely take. Day planner for you tomorrow, starting the day, first half of the day with rain. High temp right around 59 degrees for your Valentine's. 67 on Wednesday. Thursday, significantly cooler. High temp only 35, 45 Friday. The weekend looks pretty good. More rain and snow chances for us next week.
We have called absolute breaks the past 2 weekends. Cold weather precip on either side of Saturday and Sunday, and then again this upcoming weekend. So,
hey, it's nice to have a good weekend.
Yeah, not at all. All right, thank you, Doug. Climate change has sparked an increase in wildfires, creating air pollution that could be dangerous for pregnant women. Researchers tracked more than 2 million births in California. They found being exposed to smoke from wildfires increases the risk of going to labor prematurely, and each additional day of exposure raises the odds of an early delivery. Coming up, the impact the Super Bowl has on TikTok. In the nation's capital, lawmakers think TikTok needs to go. But at football's biggest game Sunday, the app reigns supreme. With big ad sales and many celebrity endorsements, the push to ban it is looking more like a Hail Mary. Fox's Madeline Rivera reports from Glendale, Arizona.
The Kansas City Chiefs are celebrating after notching another Super Bowl victory, but they're not the only ones who had a big weekend, with TikTok holding the NFL's pregame party. Users across the country got hours-long programming on the league's TikTok page. Jason Derulo and the Black Keys headlined the tailgate, which was live-streamed to thousands of people, bringing part of the Super Bowl experience to people's homes. This is the NFL's third year in a row partnering with the app for the pregame festivities. NFL teams and their top athletes also use the app to promote their brands. Super Bowl rivals, the Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, collectively have some 5 million followers on TikTok. And the app is cashing in. Some big-name brands like State Farm opted out of a traditional Super Bowl ad to advertise on the app instead, while other brands took a more interactive approach, using TikTok to entice consumers with challenges around the Super Bowl to win special sweepstakes.
As TikTok seeks a bigger footprint, momentum is growing in Congress to curb or ban the app.
We do know there's Chinese ownership of the company that owns TikTok. And so there are some people in the Commerce Committee that are looking into that right now.
There are mounting bipartisan privacy and security concerns surrounding the app's parent company, Chinese-owned ByteDance. Last year, Congress passed a measure banning the app on federal government devices. Several states have approved similar restrictions.
Well, you see it all the time with athletes and athletic organizations having deals with communist China and trying to excuse it.
Some football fans are wary too.
And I don't have it on my phone 90% of the time, just because I know about the security stuff.
But with TikTok leveraging so many celebrities and brand names, it may be hard to rein in. At least one business expert now leaving a warning for the NFL.
Were I the CEO of the NFL, I definitely would stay away from it.
In Phoenix, Arizona, Mather Rivera, Fox News.
Changes to school nutrition standards has helped reduce obesity in children. A new study looked at more than 14,000 children and teenagers from 2005 to 2020. Researchers found an overall decrease in body mass index, or BMI, after standards mandated more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and low-fat dairy products. The overall BMI decrease was seen across ages and income levels, which researchers say is insignificant. Children who visit emergency rooms for mental health treatment are continuing to suffer. A new study in the journal Pediatrics finds more than a quarter of kids with issues including depression, anxiety, and self-harm return to the hospital within 6 months. Researchers say out of 28,000 young Medicaid patients, only about half received any outpatient follow-up with a month visit to a hospital afterwards. We'll be back with more news after this. A big part of the Super Bowl is the commercials, and we have a look at which ads scored big this year. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Who won the game of the Super Bowl ads? Your top 5.
Well, I have to definitely start off with Tubi. I don't think most people knew what Tubi was heading into the game, and so they had one very clear mission: introduce the audience to Tubi, and I think they did that with that bizarre rabbit hole ad, and then the TV takeover had America freaking out. Amazon is interesting because they typically go with that celebrity heavy spot, a lot of press beforehand, and there was none. And it pretty much surprised everybody with a very charming ad about a dog. And so that one was very well received by the ad meter, the USA Today ad meter. The Farmer's Report, Farmer's Dog, I don't even know the brand, which maybe doesn't bode well for their memorability, but that was also very well-received ad during the game.
I gotta do me, Missy.
Doritos with Jack Harlow, Missy Elliott, Elton John, was really strong. And then I'll give a shout to one regional ad, and I'll say the Sam Adams spot that ran mostly in the Northeast.
I like it. Yep. Not every ad scored a touchdown.
The Temu ad, I didn't really understand the strategy there, running the same ad twice during the game and then twice more after the game. I think a lot of the beer brands fell short throughout the game. Planters, we get the idea of roasting Mr. Peanut, but the jokes just really fell flat.
There were standouts in star-studded commercials.
Popcorners nailed the Breaking Bad spot. I think it's worth noting that some of the best ads of the game didn't have celebrities.
Gonna be a good boy. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
The U.S. Mint has announced the 5 honorees for its 2024 American Women Quarters program. They are writer and activist Pauli Murray, Patsy Takamito, Mink, the first woman of color to serve in Congress, Civil War era surgeon and abolitionist Dr. Mary Edwards Walker, legendary Cuban-American singer Celia Cruz, and writer, composer, and political activist Sid Khalisa, or Redbird. Just last week, the Mint rolled out first quarters for its 2023 honorary pioneering pilot Bessie Coleman. Next, how one female snowboarder is making waves in the male-dominated sport. Snowboarding is a sport that is very much dominated by male athletes, but a young woman from Detroit is making waves with her new board, giving the guys a run for their money.
Look at how beautiful the hand groove did.
This is 22-year-old Grace Warner,
It kind of found me.
a pro snowboarding athlete straight out of Commerce Township.
What makes the sport so exciting for you?
The feeling of belongingness. We all work together to get better, and it doesn't really matter what age you are or how you snowboard. It's just we're all being creative and we love this thing.
Grace first strapped in at the age of 4. Back then, it was one of the best ways to bond with her 3 siblings. But now, with several awards and brand endorsements under her board, Grace gets to travel the world and pursue the sport full time.
You're one of the few girls in this male-dominated sport. You're young, you're 22 years old. You feel you're under pressure to constantly prove yourself?
Definitely. I think I've come a long way mentally with that, but I've definitely felt a lot of pressure to be like keeping up with the boys and proving that I deserve the opportunities that I've been given lately, and I'm insanely grateful.
To this date, do you get scared while doing snowboarding?
1,000%. I think being scared and like the feeling of the thrill is kind of what I'm addicted to. If I'm not scaring myself, I feel like I didn't push hard enough.
So then how do you manage your fears?
Weigh out your priorities, and if the fall is worth the accomplishment of actually achieving it, then go for it.
And even after sustaining a few bumps and bruises over the years, Grace wouldn't change a thing about the sport. In fact, she tells me so many women are getting into the sport, and female snowboarding is the best it's ever been.
Young girls who want to get inspired or inspired by you and they want to get into the sport, what would your advice be for them?
Don't worry about what the boys are doing. Don't worry about what you think you should be doing. Just get out there and take some baby steps.
Grace was one of about 40 professional athletes who took part in the Red Bull Heavy Metal competition in Detroit's Hart Plaza over the weekend. Well, that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. And to all my Chiefs fans, congratulations. But before you go, we'll leave you with the video of yesterday's 19th annual Puppy Bowl. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.